Vais para o sofá deitar-te e ficas já despechado. Vamos lá então começar! Well, hello guys, welcome back to the channel, and today, as promised, I bring you the review of this week's chapter of the 7 Deadly Sins, 163 of its name, The Princess and the Guardian Saint. This week's chapter starts right off the last chapter, and we see Glockshinia setting the rules for the festival. First rule, all kinds of weapons are allowed, and even foul play is allowed. So, very interesting, we'll see a lot of that in this chapter. Rule number 2, the conditions for the victory are as following: either killing your opponent's team, rendering them powerless and helpless, or having them fall from the battle platform. So, 3 ways of achieving defeat are as it stands. Ban and Meliodas actually try to get in the way of having Elizabeth and Elaine fight, but Glockshinia is not caring about that, and Ban even tries to leave the arena, but which is rule number 3, abandoning or forfeiting the battle is strictly prohibited. So giving up is not an option on how to win the battle. So one can't say, well, I give up, he wins. No, they can't do that. So it's either you battle or you let yourself be killed. Those are your only options. And Elizabeth says to Meliodas, please, you don't need to worry about me, just concentrate on yourself. And as Bun says, she really has a pair of lungs, because I mean, come on. It's in open space with a good distance between them, and she's still able to scream. That's Elizabeth for you, quite a pair of lungs, and not pair of other things, as Bun. Well, you get how I'm saying. But comes Elaine and says the same thing. You worry about your own fight. Me and Elizabeth, we got this. And they do. As I hoped, as I knew they would. But let's move on. Elizabeth asks how Elaine knows her name, and she says, well, I've been watching over Ban, and Meliodas is always by Ban's side, and by Meliodas' side is you, so yeah. And you also went to the capital of the dead, so yeah, I meet you from there. It's been a long time. And now Elizabeth actually realizes that she's Elaine. She's the one that Ban is in love with. How cute. They finally officially met one another. Because back in the capital of the dead, I'm actually rereading the Natsuno, the 7 Deadly Sins from the beginning now. So I've recently came across the Capital of the Dead saga again. And indeed, Elizabeth never sees Elaine there. The only ones that do are King and Ban. So far, Elizabeth didn't knew Elaine in person. And while they're fighting, the assassins are already on their tails. And even though one says, hey, I don't really feel like hurting a pair of women, and the other says, don't worry about it. For us assassins, killing is just natural. Let's do it. And they jump to them and actually try to hurt them. But as they are this close to Elizabeth, Elaine actually attacks them with an attack call, and mind my turning my head, Zephyr's Imperial Rod, or in Japanese, Soyokaze no Gekirin. I like to say the names in Japanese, sorry. It's a thing of mine. I like how they sound. So yeah, don't judge me if I tell them wrongly. Which just appears to be a shockwave, and a very effective shockwave at that. Because as she says, pushing apart stupid humans like that, it's the day-to-day job of the guardian saint of the Fairy King's forest. And this might be the attack that she used against Ban when he tried to get there. If you remember, she was always repelling him with a shockwave. As he got there, he would always go back. So this might be the attack that she used. It's just a little curiosity. And they're actually surprised that she claims to be the guardian saint of the Fairy King's forest. and they believe that that's just a fairy tale, it's not real, so let's just keep moving. Elizabeth commends Elaine on her attacks, and they have this girly talk that she was as honest as Elaine imagined, and Elizabeth always wondered what kind of person Ban was in love with. Girly talk, you know how it is. They just talk how both their lovers are nut jobs and having always with their heads on the air, not giving a damn about anything. And now the important part of this conversation, if there's any, it's Elaine actually wondering why they came to Vazel. And Elizabeth says to drive the Ten Commandments back from where they came. And that's when Elaine realizes that Dolor and Glokshini are part of the Ten Commandments. And she starts wondering what we all are. Why is the first fairy king with them? It's not only the first fairy king, but the god of the giants. I mean, wow. I guess that's a mystery that will stay to the next chapters. And also, there's another reason. It's because Meliodas said it sounds like fun. Of course, why wouldn't Meliodas say that? He says that to everything that involves fighting. He said that in the festival in Bizel. I'm also reading that right now in the previous chapters. So, yeah, Meliodas, when it comes to fighting, is all there. Is all over it, and all over it are also the assassins who already throw out smoke bombs, not even caring what they're saying. They came to strike again, and amidst the confusion, Elizabeth is poisoned, which would be something to worry about if we didn't know already what she would do. So it's not really that worrying. One of them, as one poisoned Elizabeth, the other one moves on Elaine, and she doesn't even care. She dodges like nothing. Because even though they hid their presence, they could not hide they could not hide the voice on their hearts and the malice at which they were carrying the attack. And so she uses yet another attack, Golden Imperial Rod, or in Japanese, if you pardon me, Konjiki no Gekirin. And this appears to be again another shockwave, but this time a more powerful one. It appears to have more gravitational power, if it makes sense. It pushes them harder and for longer, I guess, than just the Zephyr's Imperial Rod, which just appears to be a quick shockwave that sends them flying. The Golden Imperial Rod appears to be a more pressing shockwave, which actually causes a lot of damage to one of the assassins. And as obviously, Elizabeth appears unscathed from the attack, and she even helps the enemy with her healing powers due to her druid heritage. Sorry, the word just escaped from my head. And she just says, "Now, please lay down there, don't do anything else. This is our win." And as you can see, even Elaine is surprised by Elizabeth's sudden burst of magic. And she knows what it is. And an interesting piece of information. The kingdoms of Meraki and Leons were in an alliance before. But the two holy knights, Dreyfius and Hendrickson, actually broke that peace treaty and they kicked Meraki into submission. They actually did that. Well, Dreyfius did that. Hendrickson was innocent. I don't remember how that happened. That's one of the reasons why I'm rereading the Seven Deadly Sins. It's to actually understand a little bit better that part of the story. Because it's all a little flustered. It all happened pretty quickly. So, yeah. And she says that the battles that followed between Leonas and Meraki actually left Meraki Kingdom completely broken. And they ask who she is, and she says, I'm the daughter of King Baldur of Leonis, Elizabeth. Just like that. And as much as Elaine wonders, are you sure these guys tried to kill us? And she says yes. Turning the other cheek is a lot easier than it looks. And as always, the kind-hearted, gentle lady, Elizabeth, proves that one can win a battle just by forcing one into accepting it. You've lost. There's really not much to do. And the chapter ends like this. It was not a very fast paced chapter as the last two, but as I was expecting, it is a chapter of victory. Elizabeth and Elaine, the princess and the guardian saint, actually won the battle. As I was hoping, as I was expecting, as I was wanting it to happen. Elizabeth wasn't as flashy as Elaine, but then again, I was not expecting that. The fact that Elizabeth managed to move from the damsel in distress to the damsel that can actually do something, that can fend for herself in battle, she can heal herself, and that's good. She doesn't depend on anyone now. Yes, she can't fight, she can't produce shockwaves as Elaine does, but she is no longer that bottom line lady who gets hammered all the time and has to be saved by the knight in shiny armor. And that's good. She evolved from that, and that's what I was wanting. I was wanting for Elizabeth to assert herself as the kind hearted lady she is, and that she could make a difference in battle like that. I'm not saying that she can win every single battle with that. No, she can't. She can't win against a demon like that. But she can now fend for herself. She might no longer be a total worry for Meliodas and the others, because they can now be a little less worried about her when they go to battle. And as the chapter ends, the strength of the guardian saint and the kindness of the princess came together to claim victory. And it is victory indeed. First battle of the battle royale over. Elizabeth and Elaine versus the Marakia assassins group. Winner Elizabeth and Elaine, the princess and the guardian saint. Though the next chapter name is called Those Who Will Never Surrender. Now, this can mean one of two things. The Marakia dudes are actually not gonna accept defeat and are gonna keep trying to win. Or we will have another fight with someone that's apparently weaker. They might be getting a hard time, having a hard time on the battle. Sorry, I just broke a little bit now. But they will never surrender and they will rise to victory. So it's one of these options. I guess there really isn't much else to go on the chapter name. I don't think that it makes sense to extend Elizabeth and Elaine's fight any longer, because as I said, it's not meant to be a flashy fight. I never expected it to be a flashy fight, but who knows? Maybe next chapter Elizabeth will actually reveal herself in and have some sort of offensive power. Because she really doesn't have any defensive or offensive power. But it would be cool to have her use a little bit more of an offensive power. It kind of her abilities kind of remind me of how's her name? I guess it's Hirohime from Bleach, the one with the pendants on her hair, the redhead. That's in love with Ichigo. I believe it's Hirohime. I'm not really sure, and I read Bleach, and I'm not sure. But she has those pendants that she uses to form the barrier to heal others, and she uses it also as an offensive power. So maybe Elizabeth can be a little bit like that. It would be cool to see Elizabeth use any actual offensive powers, but as I said, it's not mandatory. As long as she has evolved from that bottom line, I am happy. It has it has fulfilled my expectations for her and for this chapter and for the fight. And that said, I hope you have enjoyed it. This chapter gets to an end. Sorry if the video was a little bit shorter. Well, compared to the previous video of the 7 deadly sins, which was like nearly 40 minutes long, this one is a little bit shorter, I'm sorry, but the chapter really isn't for that much. So the fight was actually decided pretty quickly. So I have been blabbering on to try to make some time up, make some theories. As for who might be fighting next, I don't know. I guess it's going to be pretty random. So we'll just have to see. Maybe you won't get to see the full fight, but maybe just another fight ending. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. Next week there's another chapter. So this makes the video for today. Tomorrow, Wednesday, there won't be a video because there's actually nothing getting released unless One Piece decides to release earlier, which would be pretty awesome. I hope that happens. Well, no, Wednesday there won't really be a video because I will get home late. So I have some work to do on my internship and I will have to get home a little bit later. So even if One Piece releases earlier, I won't be able to review it on set. Thursday, probably not as well, even if One Piece releases. So this Friday, the One Piece video will be released. So until then, unless I have the time to do something, I'll do it. So we'll have to see. But I hope you have enjoyed this video. I've blabbered for long enough. As always, if you enjoyed the video, please leave your comments in the comment section below. She's yours to use and abuse. Comment on the chapter, what you thought about it, what you think will happen from now on, and comment about my overall performance. And as I always say, the comment section is yours. Please make use of it. Tell me what you think of my performance, what I should improve, what I shouldn't, if I'm doing good, if I'm not. Please, your opinion matters the whole world to me. I am trying to get this project to a good home and make it something long lasting. Anyway, I've blabbered for long enough. This time I really say my goodbyes to you, and I'll see you next time. Não, 17 minutos não dá nada mal. Agora é ir para o sofá. É carregar o vídeo e ir para o sofá.